Hello and welcome to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. So here's something a little bit different. I really wanted to have a look at this map. It's called Someplace Else. It's by Adam Foster, a name which should ring some bells if you're a fan of Half-Life 2 single player. Of course, he was the author of Minerva, which is one of my favourite Half-Life 2 mods ever created. And this is kind of where it all started. You'll notice there's a lot of similarities already with the kind of radio transmissions coming in over your suit. Very kind of cryptic messaging, which is exactly the same kind of thing as in Minerva, even uses the same sound effect. So this map is incredibly impressive visually. It's got some amazing brushwork in it, and lighting. It feels very organic and natural. Really don't feel like you're in an area which has been created with brushes. It feels like it's been created with displacements, which is amazing. And you can really kind of feel the Minerva influence. There's a lot of kind of large areas, lots of verticality, and just this crazy brushwork all over the place that's just incredibly pleasing to look at. Now, I'm incredibly rusty at Half-Life. This is the first time I've played Half-Life in a very long time. So apologies for any derps during this video. I will try and get through it as best as possible. It's very rare that you actually see a Zen map. I think a lot of people would put off Zen. Generally just kind of the gameplay that Valve implemented in Zen in Half-Life probably made a lot of people dislike it. With good reason, I guess. It was kind of annoying, but I really liked the location. I just didn't like the gameplay in it. Adam's done a great job here of just transforming Zen into this beautiful place that's actually fun to play in, rather than just the annoying platforming hell that was in the original Half-Life. Yeah, look at these tunnels, it's fantastic. Just so much detail everywhere, the lighting's fantastic, very smooth. Another interesting thing about this map is that you start off in the corridor. You can actually turn around and kind of backtrack from your starting location, which is pretty rare in maps. You generally start off in an area with kind of a very kind of forward direction at the very start to kind of get the player going. It's very rare that you can actually turn around and travel back behind you. I seem to remember a couple of Quake maps where you could do that, but generally it's kind of very unidirectional at the start, with any kind of level really. This map is also incredibly unforgiving. There's not a lot of health and armor scattered around all over the place. If you take a lot of unnecessary damage, you're going to have a very tough time, as I do. I take so much extra damage from things like these head crabs, and just there's a lot of areas which are kind of annoying in this level, where you'll have like a very narrow passage with alien grunts at the end, and you can't really sidestep their homing projectiles while you're in these kind of narrow areas. It can be very frustrating. Honestly, I really don't like the alien grunt enemies in Half-Life. They're just really annoying to me. Especially when you're kind of pigeonholed into these narrow areas like this and you have to just wait for ages for all their projectiles to disappear. I think these enemies work a lot better when you've got a lot more room to move around and kind of dodge them. There are a lot of kind of bottleneck areas in this map. So you've got a lot of these almost man-made style structures built into the Zen environment here, which looks incredible. I think these textures are by a guy called Evil Layer. I think I remember them from Quake 3 Arena. This is going back to late 90s obviously, and the early 2000s, when Quake 3 was at its height, and there were just texture sets popping out all over the place for it. And I hope I'm right in saying this is an Evil Layer texture set for all the metal stuff here. It certainly looks familiar. Yeah, down to 26 HP. Things get much tighter. In fact, I backtrack here to grab some health. We'll skip the walk back for your viewing pleasure, but yeah, what a great looking map. We have to come back to this section a little bit later on anyway to ride the elevator up. So there we are, let's skip back to where we were. I like that you can hear the bull squid here before you can see it. It kind of gives you a bit of a pause where you just kind of stick your head out and see what's actually going on before popping out completely. Stuff like that can be tricky to implement because if the bull squid's right there and sees you, it can be quite irritating to actually get out of the hole without taking a whole bunch of unavoidable damage, but it's done quite nicely here. You can actually pop up behind it and it's no problem. Again, you got this fantastic architecture. It really does feel completely alien. I mean, aside from the fact that Zen is a very alien place just by itself, but the actual architecture here as well doesn't feel human, even though it looks like it could have been built by humans. It's very, very cool. You've always got these huge vistas which kind of dominate a lot of the skybox area like this. Zen is a really, really beautiful place. It's just a shame that mappers didn't do more with it during Half-Life. Saying that though, I have missed out on so many Half-Life releases. Maybe there are some great Zen theme maps that I've just missed. I'm gonna have to start playing through a lot more of this stuff. Been feeling very, very Half-Life-y lately. There's so many releases I need to catch up on and have a look at. Really nice door mechanism here. Really catches your eye, and the animation and colour change is just a nice way to show that you've activated the button. I really like these alien slave enemies. The charge up on their attack is really, really nice piece of visual anticipation for the attack. This is something I think Black Mesa got really, really wrong actually, and along with a few other gameplay things I didn't like about Black Mesa, but the alien slaves in Black Mesa, it was actually pretty hard to avoid their attacks because their charge time was so fast. Whereas in Half-Life you kind of sidestep around the attack quite easily. Made the alien slaves not very dangerous by themselves, but in a large engagement you could kind of avoid their attacks just by moving, which I really, really like. I think Black Mesa kind of screwed up a little bit there, which is probably why I still haven't finished it. It just started really, really irritating me. Should really do that at some point. So down to 6 health. Things are a little bit dicey, but we're going to continue. I really like the sound effects in here as well. It's very, very ominous. Although the Half-Life DSP can get a little bit much, a lot of the sound just feels very, very distorted for a lot of this video, and it's not a recording problem. It actually sounds like this in the map. I'm not sure if it's a volume problem or if it's just like the old Half-Life engine DSP just wasn't very good or what. I don't know, but yeah, it's not particularly great. The actual ambient sounds are great in here. We've got some more text telling us what to do next. So this button in here activated the kind of gravity lift back in the first chamber. The large kind of mechanism in the ceiling. So now we have to backtrack a little bit to get back there. Of course we have some more enemies trying to stop us. This map is actually quite terrifying in a way, because the health is so limited. You really have to play very carefully. It's really interesting playing Half-Life again after so long of playing Half-Life 2 and other modern games. You realise just how easy modern games have gotten, even on harder difficulty settings. They're really not as hard as these old games. Like, I play a lot of Quake, but because I've played it since 1996, it's very, very easy for me to get through maps. But Half-Life, because I'm kind of rusty at it, it's actually a very difficult game if you haven't played it that much. Used up all the supplies here. Let's go down the other way here and see what we can find. Smash our way through here. Ammo's becoming a little bit of a problem as well. I like all the little crystals around here as well, just adds little hot spots of lighting to these caves. It's kind of nice. They probably look a little bit dull without them, but they do a really great job of just adding a little bit of warmth to the scene. And we're getting some more ominous text. People seem to be really split down the middle about this text stuff. I know a lot of people didn't like it in Minerva either. I don't really mind it that much. If it's written well, then I really don't mind reading it. And Minerva text is actually really interesting to read because it's presented in such a unique way. I think that's what gave Minerva such a mysterious atmosphere, was just the way the story was presented with these text messages. It really kept you wanting to progress to see what was actually going on. Now we're entering the main facility of sorts. There's some really cool like computer screens and various other panels and stuff that you can interact with. Generally, I like the fact the environment is very monotone here. It's very grey and kind of blue, and anything that's really of interest to the player is kind of highlighted in different colours like green or red. It's very easy to kind of navigate around and figure out what's usable and what isn't, because players have never really seen an environment like this before, so it's cool that you can kind of work out what's important just by the colours. So that panel we just activated, I believe it opens some doors around here. I really like these triangular windows here. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know why, but it reminds me of Aliens. The colony, LV-246 colony. Which of course is a masterpiece of science fiction architecture. It's really hard to find better, really. So these broken pipes above me, I can't remember if that's significant later on. I guess we'll find out as we watch through this. It's been a while since I actually played this map. I'm doing this commentary post. But I think that's actually significant later on. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, activating those two buttons opens all this. Now we get an ambush. I love the fact the force field walls kind of deactivate. It turns the It turns this whole area from kind of a linear button pushing exercise into a kind of interconnected arena, just like the push of a button. It's really, really cool. And I love the fact the enemies aren't just kind of teleported in without any kind of warning. That's one thing I really like about Half-Life, is that when enemies teleport in, you're really, really told about it. You've got this bright green glowing thing and a huge sound effect. Makes doing stuff like backspawning a lot easier because it's really, really hard to miss it when it happens. Alright, so we cleared that out, so now we can progress down this corridor. Perhaps enemy variety is probably a complaint you could level at this map. It seems to be mostly grunts and slaves. It would have been nice to see some more bull squids and hound eyes and things like that. I think hound eyes and slaves put together can make quite interesting combinations. Because you have to keep moving from all of them. It's got some more buttons to push here. No idea what they did, which is something I don't really like. These are the same kind of buttons that we pushed earlier to open that door, so it stands to reason that another door is open now, but you just don't know where that door might be. I can sneak up behind that guy, maybe. Oh, I should have given him both barrels. What was I thinking? Got another button here. Okay, so it wasn't a door, it was that huge teleport that opened. Yeah, pretty hard to miss that, I guess. So that's alright. Now we just need to work out how to get down there. Got some damage to the facility here. Doesn't look too good. Obviously we can't go this way just yet. Again, we've got more of these damaged conduits. I was really wondering what they were signifying, because it's unusual to have such a distinctive element in the map there and not have it do something. So this area did confuse me a little. Find this broken panel here, which wasn't there before. I generally dislike stuff like this in maps, especially when it's not signposted as well as it should be. So it just feels completely random when you walk upon it. I think this could have been signposted a bit better. Interesting that you've got some kind of human-made equipment down here. Nope, stay in the hole. I think this ambush could have worked a bit better if the player had actually had a chance to get out of the hole before being ambushed. As it is now, you just kind of stand in the hole and play peekaboo with the enemies until they're all dead. Not the most riveting gameplay. Now maybe we can escape. The grenades in Half-Life. This is so funny. I mean, grenades in Half-Life 2 are probably some of the best implemented grenades in an FPS game, I think. They just feel so good to throw. They generally go exactly where you want them. Half-Life grenades, pretty much the exact opposite. Gordon throws like a baby in Half-Life. It's really, really noticeable after playing Half-Life 2 for so long. So that is that. It's a really interesting map to look at, especially after playing Minerva. Beautiful brushwork all the way through. Really, really liked the visuals. Gameplay was, for the most part, good, but again, some frustrating elements. Very, very hard map, not a lot of health and armor lying around. And some of the ambushes could have been done a bit better, I think. But for the most part, a very, very solid release. Very, very cool. I do recommend it. So, going forwards, I'll probably be doing a little bit more Half-Life stuff on this channel. Half-Life 1, that is. Because I'm going to be catching up on a lot of Half-Life releases that I haven't played. So, I will see you guys next time.